Hello, everybody. Bringing to you today a uh, a few articles, real quick. We'll make it fast. Jasmine Crockett has been definitely the focal point here recently when it comes to new age politicking. Since we're gonna, is that what we're doing here? A little bit of politicking. She's given a presentation in front of a bunch of people, and she's got some of her skin folk with her today, and so apparently anything goes. And she's an advocate for illegals in the United States, and she even openly said that the right, the people, I guess the right, the opposing team. Team Red is like they're trying to get rid of all the illegals so that they can put us black folk back into fields and work the fields. It's like, well, that's really, are you trying to say something there? Or is that where we're at? To me, that's kind of racist, And most of the time when you look at people that are calling somebody racist, I would almost, because most racists don't call other people racist. You know what I'm saying? Just hear me out. Like, or the ones that are accused racist. Like, say for instance, the KKK don't go look at somebody that's not racist and go, "Hey, you're a racist." They just are. They don't have to say anything. But whenever you're uh, trying to hide your racism, you tend to project it onto somebody. If you're open about it, you just don't say anything. But if you're a closet racist and you don't like the other side because of the color of their skin or something like that, typically you have to hide behind the fact and call them the racist. It's called projection. Hear me out on this. So here's Jasmine Crockett. She's gonna say some crazy stuff, man, about illegals. Uh, it's crazy.
How many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on them? Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food. Now, how many of you are...
Well, who is that, by the way? Is that a... We've got Microwave Obama, which is Hakeem Jeffries. Is this your TV dinner, like Oprah over here on the left with her microphone and big, like, parachute pants?
looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. These are the people that are really making us great in this country.
I watched the video real closely, there is some editing right there. So we'll say that this is more than likely legitimate that she said it this way, because I'm watching it closely. You can kind of see the little spots cut. There could be just ways to shorten it up because they try to keep it less than a minute for certain TikToks and different things like that, where she was kind of pausing in between. But I've heard her say other things real similar to this, so I would not put it past her. Or a dollar store Oprah Winfrey over here. That's pretty wild. So and we've heard her say really awful things about white people in general. But she'll disguise it as the right. And so, anyways, but let me get into this right here. So there is a woman that is suing a Connecticut school system for saying she can't read or write after graduating. And I watched this. The video, it talks about how she got through school because they just let her use the auto read, and she said she can read a little bit, but like very small bits and pieces. And the teachers pushed her through all the different classes. Now this could be, I don't know how else it's going to turn out in court. Dank DeVos didn't win her court date court thing because she was too big to fit in a vehicle. This might not pan out so good for her because typically, you could say, well, look, I just really need to learn. They got what was it, Muzzy back in the late '80s or the early '90s. But so you could have done something better. But public schools definitely have went down the tube because 3 Arizona schools are they're losing millions in federal funding amid the push to end DEI policies. And what it is our new administration has came in there and said, look, DEI is really screwing up the school system. And a lot of other things as well, because it's pushing for just people that aren't qualified as teachers, and in the process trying to promote that agenda, which doesn't end up well. You're not going to benefit in life working under a DEI policy. You're going to find yourself in a really bad place because you're not going to be very well educated. You're not going to be very well acclimated to a normal society. You'll have to have an inverted society for it to function. And that being noted and that being seen, there's a push to try to end this and try to get back to regular education, like not Common Core math. Common Core math, introduced almost 30 years ago, as it worked its way through the school system, is where 2 plus 2 doesn't equals 4. 2 plus 2 could be anything, whatever you want it to be, because using actual factual numbers, quote unquote, is becoming racist and a patriarchy. So that doesn't even work in a real society. But this is a real thing. If you don't believe me, if you're just new to this channel, you're thinking, well, there's no such thing as Common Core math. Yes, there is. There's teachers that are pushing it to where there are no wrong answers to a math problem. Your ending is inclusive to your lifestyle and your life experiences for your conclusion in your math problem. Now, one other thing I'd like to go into is Elizabeth Warren. She's really uber pissed because of the Department of Education being fizzled out. Here's the deal. You won't lose millions of dollars if you just stop doing DEI policies and do something that's more relatable to a functional society. These schools are just trying to facilitate an ideology which is not functional. Look, check this out. Just like that school in Arizona, if you go woke, you go broke. So here we are. Check this out.
What's your reaction to what happened to the Department of Education?
Public education is a public education
Woo, woo. She's trying to be Indian.
is a critical part, not just of how we build a future, but also of our democracy.
First of all, public education is an intricate part of not only how we build a future, but how we it's a threat to our democracy, as she says. Now, let me break that down to you real quick. The future that she wants is an indoctrinated society full of idiots who think it's okay to do really terrible things to your kids. An indoctrinated society who puts their head in the sand and does whatever the administration or the next big thing says to do, which is take all these jabs, go to do all this mental health stuff, Common Core math. And the threat to their democracy is if people actually are given real education and are able to facilitate a real mindset and become their own individual selves, then you will rise up above a system which is designed to try to hold you down, which is a threat. When she says our democracy, and I've said it many, many times, when she says they're a threat to our democracy, she's talking about the power structure that's behind her. All of those big fancy felt ropes and those nice places, the stairs and big elites running everything, that's what she means. She doesn't mean you and me, our neighbors, our friends. No. And by the way, we're a constitutional republic, but when she says threat to our democracy, she's saying that in a way of double speak, meaning their power structure. If people are actually taught in real life education to function in a real life setting and think critically, that is a threat to their democracy. Remember that.
I support public education. Ultimately, Donald Trump and Elon Musk do not have the right.
She also supports all these people being thrown in a meat grinder so that they can facilitate a money laundering scheme to keep greasing their pockets so they can drive around in, well, they used to drive around in Teslas, but now they're just, I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, Chevy Volts that explode when you plug them in. I don't know.
To shut down the Department of Education. It was created by Congress. Only Congress has that right. But just the very fact that they want to do everything they can to insult public school teachers, to insult public school students, and to insult the communities that depend on and support those public schools is truly despicable.
Okay, this is where the woman is making a very educated lie. She's trying to say that all these people are being insulted. No, the only people that are being insulted are the ones who had their mindset on destroying society, and we're not putting up with it anymore. If you dismantle the education department, and then get rid of that stupid woman who makes over almost $750,000 a year, and then send this stuff back to the states so that the states can actually compete with each other. You'll see a competition that forms out of that. Money won't get sent off to federal funding. Money won't be laundered through all these people, because ever since they've come up with this education lottery that's nationwide, the schools have never had so much less money. Okay, now check this out. You put that money back into the states, and the states that start you. Wow, look at our numbers in education. We're ranked. The United States is ranked 40th in education amongst the world. We are last. We are a failing nation, and the only thing that these kids are being taught is how to fall in line and just listen to the system and believe the lies that you're being told. Just like Winston was trying to be educated so that he could believe in Common Core math whenever that dude says, hey, how many fingers am I holding up? And he goes 2, and he starts cranking down the machine and stretching him in half till he believes whatever he wants to be told. You know? So, no, just these schools will have plenty of money. More money than you ever had, and then the states that are falling behind because they want to push DEI policies will actually show really crappy numbers, and then they'll be like, look, these people suck, look at what they're doing over here, look how well these students are doing. They just invented a thing. I don't know whatever they're going to invent, but it's going to be awesome, and you guys are just sitting over with your thumbs in your bum and you've cut your junk off. This doesn't work. And then so those states would lose people living there. They'd move to real places, and then that would mess up their tax. But it's a domino effect, because you would be able to expose the woke agenda by having the states facilitate their own education instead of it being federally mandated through some woman who that looks like she couldn't even find a 2x4 at Lowe's that's making over $750,000 a year. Anyways, going into the Trump thing right quick. So let's look at what Trump was saying about the AUTOPEN Maflachi. Check this out.
Crooked Joe Biden got us into a real mess with Russia and everything else he did, frankly, but he didn't know about it, and he, generally speaking, signed it with AUTOPEN. So how would he know that AUTOPEN is a big deal? I don't know. You know, they're having who's doing this? So when my people come up, Will and all of the people, Steve, they come up and, sir, this is an executive order. They explain it to me, and 90% of the time I sign it. 99% of the time I say do it, but they come up and I sign it. But you don't use AUTOPEN. It's number one, it's disrespectful to the office. Number two, maybe it's not even valid, because who's getting him to sign? He had no idea what the hell he was doing. If he did, all of these bad things wouldn't be happening.
And it turns out that Biden, the real big scandal is there's a good chance it was this key Biden advisor who came up with that. It's pretty wild. And I don't like to do hopium, but I would love to see. I'm waiting on some arrests, some real arrests. I want to see some people get locked up. I want to see people getting arrested like a mofo. Yes, that's what I want to see. Yeah, and this right here, I will take us out on this. Thank you guys for hanging out, watching. Here's this video that this guy, this one dude, I've already seen, like, it pops up in my feed, but supposedly this is a soldier in Ukraine, and he's like, and there was watch this. Look at this. Look at this crazy mess. Okay, now this is not the only video. Look at the responses in this here. Check this out. Watch this. This is how ignorant the public is. You can see these people, looks miserable, maybe stop the war. And then let's see here. It says right here, you just got all these people. It breaks my heart that Ukraine and Putin is putting their people out in the field. This is what a poor man used to look like thrown into the fire. Oh, poor guy, he should be home with his family, not dying for a pointless. And it says here, this guy was probably kidnapped, which is probably, that would be more likely. But anyways, they are, so what I'm getting at is, this is all propaganda. This is made up. There's this, all these videos you see of this guy with the smoke in front of his face and all this, with doing a TikTok with music behind it. No, you're not. I'm not believing this. No, I've already seen too many CNN videos with green screen. I've already seen all these people do everything they can to pull at people's heartstrings so that they can use emotional decision-making processes, which then facilitates a terrible making of a decision, which then makes things go really stupid. This is all propaganda. This is a machine. This is the ghost of Kiev. When they were using video game footage to try to make it look like there was some really astronomical stuff going on as everything was being annihilated and they were losing from the get-go. So if you see these videos of this guy right here, trust me, this is not real. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hanging out. Have a good one, guys. We are out.